To the morning show on the Big 1520 across central Illinois, WHOW.
It is WHOW. Good morning. Welcome in to the morning show. I'm Jared White, filling in for Seth Lawrence on this edition of today's program. And joining us in studio, pleasure to have the Sheriff of DeWitt County, Mike Walker, joining us. Sheriff Walker, how are we?
Weather's breaking, Seth, so it's going to be spring soon.
Well, a lot better than what we had. It was, I guess, Friday last week.
Much better.
Yeah. You and I talked on Friday, and that surprise 3 inches of snow that we got here in Clinton area and DeWitt County really surprised a lot of folks.
I think it surprised, like we talked on the radio Friday when we talked, surprised a lot of people, and I think that's what contributed to the number of people we had going in the ditches and the medians out here on 51. People woke up, weren't expecting it, and weren't able to make a little extra time like they were in the previous storms, and were driving like they normally would on dry pavement, and end up finding themselves being delayed.
Mm-hmm. You made the point. I thought it was a good point that there was a lot more people out and about on Friday than there were the big storms, because we had such warning with the big storms that one Thursday night into Friday morning kind of snuck up on us. I guess. And the only school district that I'm aware of was Blue Ridge that went to e-learning. Everybody else was in session. All the businesses were open, so everybody had places to go.
And it was one of those storms that during the morning commute hours, it was terrible. And then by like 8:30, 9 o'clock, it had all melted off, and the roads were in really good shape. So just one of those things that happens sometimes. And I think everybody thought after those the two major storms we had that I think they were calling for maybe an inch of snow. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I knew when I got up early Friday morning, looked out and saw 3 or 4 inches, I myself was surprised. So.
Yeah. So Mother Nature can do that.
Yes, it can.
Plan ahead and take your time, slow down, right?
Hopefully we're done with that for the season.
Hopefully, looking at the forecast, it's looking pretty good that we could be done for that. But I don't know. We got a snow on what was it, Mother's Day last year?
Well, we don't need to talk about that.
But again, Sheriff Walker joining us, and weather looks good. So as we kind of move along, you were telling me that you are officially running for re-election.
Yep, I filed my papers last week to seek a second term. So hopefully I'll be blessed enough to continue to serve the people of DeWitt County and as their sheriff.
Well, congratulations on making that decision, moving forward. One term right now, right?
Yeah, I'm currently in my first term.
Running for a second term.
Mm-hmm.
As you look at your first term, what have been the accomplishments? What are you running on, I guess?
Well, I guess over the last 3 years we've had a lot of things happen, not just within the department, but worldwide. I was able to lead the department through a worldwide pandemic, and for the most part, most of our people remained safe and stayed away from COVID. We did have a few issues. A few people tested positive, but I've been blessed with a great staff from deputies, corrections, my administration, the dispatchers in our office. If you don't have good people, you can't be successful. And I have to say that we got a great group of people. And some of the things that we've done. I got 2 people in the law enforcement academy down at Decatur right now. They're scheduled to graduate April 15th. Once they get out and go through their field training, we'll be back to full staff for the first time during my tenure as sheriff. Some things we had plans of doing that about 3 years ago, and different things happened. We had the bail reform, or the fines and fees reform that went into effect. So the county wasn't sure how that was going to affect the county budget. So they asked me not to fill any of those open positions. So we held off on that. Then of course COVID hit, so we had to hold off again. So it took about a little over 2 years to get a couple people hired that unfortunately they both had other jobs and were still there when we were able to fill those positions. So that's going to be a plus. When you look at the state of Illinois that the average law enforcement department is 20% below staff. Anytime that we can be full staffed in corrections and road deputies is a blessing. So that's coming up here pretty quick.
Yeah, I was going to say probably the biggest challenge these days is just keeping a full staff, because I mean, we just had Chief Flowers. I know they're looking. I just did the hometown tour back in January. I talked to the police chief of Lincoln. They're looking to hire. I was in Monticello. They're looking to hire. I was in Cerro Gordo. We met. And, actually, Seth did the interview with the Piatt County Sheriff there. But so I don't know about that one. But yeah, that's a running theme amongst law enforcement agencies.
Yeah, and it's sad. I mean, we're at a point with the Safety Act and some of the legislation has come down. It's got people scared of taking these positions, and it's even gotten to where we got people that we're looking to spend a career in law enforcement and get to a retirement age and retire. To where now some of those people are actually looking at getting vested in the retirement system at 20 years and then going and doing something else. So it's a struggle that we're all facing. I was at a event yesterday hosted by Congressman Davis down in Decatur. There's about 25 police chiefs and sheriffs there for that. And that was the big thing. How can we retain people, and how can we recruit people? Being in a small agency like ours, one of the things that we have a hard time competing with is some of these bigger agencies around us that are paying. You go to Bloomington, you can start about $15,000 a year more. Granted, you're going to work a lot harder than here, but when you got some places that are offering $20,000 signing bonuses to get people to apply, small departments are having a hard time competing with those issues.
Which I guess brings up the discussion of the department budget under your guidance here over the last 4 years. How has that gone? And of course, when you look at gas prices and things like that, where they are, does that have an impact on a sheriff's department's budget?
Well, it can. I know that the county buys their fuel in bulk, so I don't think we're going to be seeing that yet. There's a potential that we could see that. I had those discussions actually just last week with the county manager, and they're really not sure how that's going to affect us yet, because the county highway department makes those purchases, and I haven't had a chance to talk to him how far ahead we purchase things. But the things that are affecting us as far as our budget, obviously I have no control. One thing the sheriff has no control over is the salaries that's set by county board. So, and it's actually set through labor negotiations with our labor agreement. So I'm outside of that, but I've had a good relationship with the county manager and the board. We sit down every year at budget time, and we look at the numbers. It's safe to say that we have been below budget for a number of years, even prior to my taking over. But the bad thing is things continue to rise, and fortunately, we have ARPA money out there that has helped us undertake a upgrade of body cameras, in-car cameras. I think Seth was at that meeting. Our current body cameras, that company got bought out by Axon, which is a taser company. And they informed us last year that they're going to start phasing out the cameras that we use. Well, our cameras, we keep all of our information on a server in-house. And if we continue with this company, we'd have to start using a cloud service, which is a monthly fee. So we went to a single source provider with Panasonic. Their body cameras actually sync with their in-car cameras, which we already have those in-car cameras, but they're old, so we're going to be replacing them. We're going to be replacing some laptops and servers, which is going to keep us with the ability to continue to store everything on site. So it was a lot of money, $245,000. But like I told the board when I asked for that ARPA money, it's one of those situations that if we don't do this now, that is going to be, it would be something that was going to have to be passed on to the taxpayers over the next 4 or 5 years to be able to get those things and get them up to where we needed to be.
Yeah. Well, and that's just the way the world is.
It is.
It's technology keeps and you gotta keep up with it.
And that's the thing. Panasonic told us, these new body cameras would work with our old in-car cameras. But I think anybody who's worked with technology knows that anytime you start using new technology with old technology, you're going to end up having some issues. So with the new laws that are coming out there, last thing we want to do is lose footage because a body camera doesn't work. We had an incident with that in jail. One of our officers was involved in a situation with an inmate. He had his camera on. For some reason, it didn't record. We don't know if it was a server issue or a camera issue. Fortunately, the second officer had his on and it worked. So, moving forward, we're going to get brand new stuff in there. And, those body cameras have become a very essential piece of equipment for law enforcement.
Yeah, necessity these days. That's for sure. Now, Mike, when you look ahead for a second term, any goals or anything that you sat down and thought about at this point?
Well, I just want to continue to make sure that we're serving the citizens of DeWitt County to the best of our ability. One of the things we're going to be able to do with these two new officers is we're going to do some scheduling changes, and once they come on board and get fully trained, we'll right now we usually only have 2 deputies on night shift. We're going to put 1 each on our 2 separate crews, so we should have 3 deputies on all the time unless somebody takes off vacation or something like that. But so it should give us better coverage in the county. Hopefully to continue to watch the budget and be a good steward of the taxpayers' money. Anybody that knows me knows that I'll do whatever I can to save the taxpayers' money. I'm not afraid to negotiate. Let's put it that way. When we went to our new inmate phone system a few years ago, I negotiated the contract. They gave us a pretty good percentage for what we were doing, and they also paid us, for lack of a better term, a bonus of $5,000 the first year and $1,000 a year for the next 4 years. So got an extra $9,000 out of them. It doesn't sound like much, but when it comes to using that money to buy inmate uniforms and supplies for the jail, it can go a long way.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Sure. Yeah. Every little bit helps. So,
oh, yes.
Best of luck in the re-election bid.
Thank you. Thank you.
DeWitt County Sheriff Mike Walker joining us. We need a timeout. We'll do that and come back, talk a little more. Again, we're chatting with DeWitt County Sheriff Mike Walker here on the WHOW Morning Show.
Despite supply chain issues, your Clinton Save-A-Lot's great team of ownership and employees are working to keep their shelves stocked to save up to 40% every day. Read owner Dave Jackson's State of the Supply Chain post by clicking their icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Peterson Insurance Services in Clinton is a 2014 Pekin Insurance Illinois Agency of the Year. Jay Peterson here from Peterson Insurance. Find out about Pekin's auto, home, or life insurance by clicking on our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
This is Pastor Paul Stroop, Clinton Presbyterian Church. Allow me to lead us in a word of prayer. Oh God, we pray for all those impacted during this pandemic. Remind us what it means to live in community and help us to have concern for others above ourselves. During these challenging times, guide us to spread hope and not fear, to find unity, not division. Give us the courage, the strength, and an unwavering trust in you. In your name we pray. Amen.
Hey, this is Todd Gleason from Illinois Extension here with a time change for our daily market report on WHOW. You can now catch our daily review of the commodity markets at 5:06 on all of WHOW's many platforms. You'll still hear all of our commodity analysts and weather professionals each afternoon, but at a brand new time. And you'll still hear the weekly wrap-up of the commodity markets right here on WHOW when Commodity Week airs Saturdays at 8:30 a.m. Remember the time change for the daily closing market report on WHOW at our new time, 5:06 p.m. weekdays.
DeWitt County's #1 source for local news is on the air and online 24 hours a day. The latest local news stories are heard every hour on Central Illinois' news station, the Big 1520 AM and 92.3 FM WHOW. Stream live at DeWittDailyNews.com. They're also heard every hour on the station that's your easy choice, 95.9 FM WEZC. And to read the latest local news on your electronic device, including tablets, iPhones, and smartphones, go to DeWittDailyNews.com. DeWitt County's #1 source for local news is on the air, online 24 hours a day.
You're listening to The Morning Show, streamed by clicking the WHOW live icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
It is WHOW. Once again, good morning. Welcome back into The Morning Show. I'm Jared White in for Seth Lawrence this morning, and our guest in studio is DeWitt County Sheriff Mike Walker. Sheriff Walker, thank you again for taking time out today.
You bet, anytime.
It's good to have you along, and we were talking earlier and mentioned gas prices and things like that, and you were saying that for those folks that have gas out on the farm, might want to keep an extra eye on that.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good idea to take some extra precautions out there. I know most of the farmers that have those things usually keep them locked up, but maybe buy a trail cam to put on there to, if they do have any issues, we can get some evidence to see who it was that stole that, because when gas prices start hitting the prices they are, over $4 a gallon, and some people predicting over $5-6 a gallon possibly by the summer, people are going to be desperate for those commodities, and they're out and about in the country and happen to see one of those big tanks sitting there, they may try to tap into it and get what they can.
I saw something the other day of it was thieves were using a power drill to basically siphon out the gas, just drilling a hole in the bottom of the tank and collecting it and taking off.
Well, criminals aren't really always too bright, so that wouldn't surprise me. I thought she was going to say he's using those small pumps that you can attach to a hand drill and siphoning it out, but that's takes a lot of nerve to get underneath and start drilling something. A spark could make things interesting for somebody doing that. So
very interesting. But I guess if you're already to that point and doing that, you're
absolutely.
You're not probably taking all the proper precautions anyway.
Right.
But when it comes to obviously DeWitt County rural areas, spring right around the corner, that means of course we're going to see a lot of farm equipment, things like that out and about. Probably remind folks to slow down a little bit if they come upon some equipment out this spring.
Absolutely. Here we're probably I haven't worked in the farming since before I started working here almost 35 years ago, but people just need to be patient with the farmers. They got those big pieces of equipment. They're going the best they can to get where they need to go, and sometimes they're going to take up the road and slow down, use caution when you're passing those things, and remember they're out there to do a job, just like when you're going to wherever your place of employment is, except for their place of employment's out in the middle of that field, and they got to get there, and if they can't get out there and do their job, you're not going to eat.
Yeah.
So have some patience with them, and it's kind of like the snowstorms. If you got to travel these rural country roads, township roads during spring planting and fall harvest, give yourself a little extra time, because you may be behind a piece of equipment for a few miles, and might slow you down 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah. So it's like you say, they're just out there doing their job. And I've talked to a lot of farmers over the years, and almost all of them, one of the things I ask, what don't you like about the job? It's getting out on the road and trying to get from field to field.
Right. Yeah. And the thing is, through time, we've seen farmers have taken on more and more farm ground, because a lot of the family farms have went away for one reason or another. So the equipment has gotten bigger for them to be able to do that. And, you're not, back in the 80s, you might get behind an old farm all pulling a 8-row planter, to where now you're behind these great big 4-wheel drive tractors that are trying to get to the field to use 20 or 30 row planters. So, but it's the things these guys got to do to be able to get those crops in and get them out.
Yeah. And also probably a good time to remind our farmer listeners out there to, take that time when you're pulling the equipment out of the shop to go over the wires, the lights, make sure everything's, all the signs are where you left them and things like that.
Yeah. And that's a big thing. Make sure all your lights are working, your flashers and turn signals and things like that, because I think every once in a while you get behind a tractor or combine or something, he's got his flashers going, and one of them's burnt out, and you think he's going to be turning, and so you kind of stay back, because regardless which way they're going to turn, they're going to turn to the left and in front of you, or they're going to have to swing wide to make that right turn. So make sure all those things are working, and just make sure that's all out there to keep themselves safe, because those things can get people to slow down and make sure. Granted, most people should see that great big tractor, but with the distractions that we have in cars now, the displays on the middle of the dashes and phones and everything, hopefully people aren't doing those things while they're driving, but inevitably we know they are, and it can cause us some problems.
Yeah. So again, just be mindful. It is getting to be that time of year. And Sheriff, folks have questions, want to follow along with the DeWitt County Sheriff's Office. How do we do that?
We have a Facebook page, DeWitt County Sheriff Facebook page. We have a website. Really don't put not a whole lot of information on the website as far as what's going on. I believe there's a link to our Facebook page. We try to use Facebook as much as we can. That seems to be the way that we reach the people the most. I use that a lot during the storms, get people updates on the roads and stuff, and that's the best way to follow us.
All right, jump on there, follow along. Sheriff, thanks as always.
Thank you.
DeWitt County Sheriff Mike Walker joining us here on the WHOW Morning Show.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. It's another sign of just how